everybody. So the topic that that I decided on, or the title, is agent or object. So the question I have for you right now to ponder while I'm talking is: are you an agent or are you an object? And that might be a really hard one for you to decide. I think that we get ourselves worked up into a space where we, as moms, we can get ourselves worked up into a space where we let things happen to us, and I know that space. I think about when I finally decided I was ready to get a divorce, and you're kind of like the frog in the pot, you know. It starts and it's not so bad, and yeah, you know that you might be fighting, and it may not be so bad, but then somebody turns up the heat, and before you know it, you're dead. You're boiled, and I think that that's what happens when you stop being your own agent. And I'm going to sort of go into some spiritual things that I hold very dear to me, that I believe about being an agent or an object. And even if they're not your beliefs, I think that really what I would ask that you do is sort of step back and really take it in, and really do some praying and meditating about it. If it's something that you're like, wait a minute, this sounds new to me, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, rather than just discount it. But I strongly believe that I'm the daughter of a king. Whatever name you put on source, you are divine, like you're a divine being. You came here to do a job, and when we came here, we were given agency, and with that agency, we're expected to be agents and not objects. And there are times in our lives where we might feel like objects, and I know some of you are really feeling like objects right now. But really what you need to do is just decide today, like right now, while I'm talking to you, am I an agent or am I an object? And if you're an object, or you feel like you've been made into an object, you decide. You get to pick. Because you have agency. You came here in this incarnation as this person, and you get to pick. You get to say, you know what, dang it, I'm done. I am done being an object. Today is the first day of being an agent. I'm done being an object. I'm done letting my husband control everything. I'm done letting my kids control everything. I'm done not taking charge. I'm done with that. And it doesn't matter what temperament you are. You could be the bossiest choleric, like the biggest beast, or you could be the mousiest melancholy. It's okay. All of those work. All of them. All of the situations make you who you are, whether you're an agent or an object. So stop telling yourself that you don't have any choices, because only an object has no choices. You have choices. I want you to get through your head, for those of you, because this is what I hear a lot of. I hear a lot of, I don't have any choices. I hear a lot of, well, my kids have such special needs, I can't do anything. Or my husband works so many hours, I can't do anything. Stop it. Stop being an object. You do not need to be in that energy. That is not the energy that makes a happy, healthy home. That is the energy that makes a codependent home. You don't want to be there. And especially if you've had trouble with that in the past, if you've really struggled with depression and really struggled with codependence, and you've really struggled in your relationships, you owe it to yourself and to your kids to stop today and look yourself in the mirror and say, Melissa, I'm an agent. I am not an object. Things are going to happen, and I get to pick how I react to those things. I get to choose, because I have my agency. Sometimes I might choose poorly. Sometimes I might have a fit. Sometimes I might scream at my kids, but I get to choose. I get to choose. It's my divine right to choose. And you know, sometimes we make choices, and those choices have consequences that go with them. And those consequences then make us feel like objects. But we have to remember, we made a choice. And one of those choices is choosing to be home with your kids every day. Because guess what? You don't have to be. You can send them off to daycare. You can send them off to school. You can get yourself a job, whether it be down the street at the McDonald's or back in an office where you used to be. You get to pick every day. Every day you get to pick. You get to choose sort of what your reality is. And you know what? It has zero to do with money. And everything to do with sort of like what you think about yourself and what you think about your life. It has nothing to do with your economic status. You can be the first church mouse and be happy as can be. And we've had, oh my goodness, we've had some major financial struggles in our marriage, especially in like the last probably, since Eric and I got married. The last few years have been really good. But man, the first 6 years of my marriage to Eric, we've been married 11 years this year. The first 6 years of my marriage were in litigation with my ex-husband. We were so poor. We lost a house. We had a car repossessed. My kids were almost taken away from me because my ex-husband had more money than we did. And my dishwasher's going. He had more money than we did. And so he thought that he could control the court system that way. And thankfully, God was like, that ain't happening. People stepped in our way because I decided I wasn't going to be an object. I decided that, dang it, if they were going to end up living with him, I was going to give it everything I had. And that didn't mean, it wouldn't have mattered if I had, I can remember in court, the judge saying that we had to come up with some money, even though it was my ex-husband's deal and he was the one who sued us, and my lawyer assured us that wasn't going to happen. The judge says, you need to come up with half this money. And I turned to my lawyer and said, what am I going to do? How in the heck am I going to come up with it? And it seemed like it was like $5,000, which was a gigantic sum of money then. It's still a really big sum of money to me. I had no idea how I was going to come up with it. And I remember my lawyer, who has the same religious and spiritual beliefs that I do, looked at me and said, are you an agent or an object? I don't care if you have to sell roses on the church or on the street corner. You raise the money. Because if you want to save these kids, you raise the money. And I did it. I asked every single person I could to help us. And we have paid every single one of those people back. And so that took a tremendous amount of me going, wait a minute, of course I know I'm an agent. Of course I get it. Of course I can do this. These are my kids. And these are, this is a situation where I'm in charge. I'm at least in charge of how I feel and how I go about it. And what happens after that, I can't control, because my ex had his agency too. And all of us do. We all have our agencies. So we may not be able to control your husband's boss that fires him. We may not be able to control, what happens down the street. We may not be able to control your landlord and the fact that, let's pick one. The fact that there's mold in your house and you have to move. Or, and I know these are just some things that some people are working through. We can't control the fact that our kids are undiagnosed, or we're trying to wait on a diagnosis, and we can't control those factors. But we can control how we act, how we, how we sort of walk through our lives, how we step up with our kids. We get to control that. We control how we treat our husband, and he controls how he treats us. We control what goes on in our home. We control what food we eat. We control what things we make. We control those things. Stop being an object. Stop. You get to pick. You just say, I'm done with that. And I know that, choleric me can easily say that, because I'm pretty stubborn. And I'm pretty hard-headed when it comes to a lot of things. But I know that every temperament has it in them. Everyone. I have studied temperament for a long time, and I have watched, like I said, the mousiest melancholic do amazing changes in their lives and say, I'm done with this, and walk on. And that doesn't mean she's not a melancholy anymore. It means that she's a melancholy that stands in her power. The same with the phlegmatic that really struggles with just getting up off their butt. Guess what? I have watched it. I have watched them say, I'm done with this. While I'm sitting here, everything's passing me by. My kids are a mess. And I'm not in charge of myself or my home. I'm done. So, we really have to step out of this place of being a victim. because objects are victims. We are not in that place. You know, I could walk around saying, oh, I'm the victim of a stroke. Hell no, I'm a stroke survivor. I'm not a victim of a stroke. I'm a survivor. I look at myself as I'm doing this video and I see the sagging in my face from my stroke. Guess what? I don't care. I'm here. I'm here. God saw fit that I wasn't done. I'm here. So every day I'm an agent. I am not an object. So I'm just going to answer some of the questions here. How do we get to the agent place? I feel like I'm so out of control. If I'm here doing A, then I'm not with B, and then it falls apart. I feel like I'm constantly trying to catch up and never in control. So let's talk about some of those things. I'm just going to look at my notes here really quick because I want to make sure that I get everything. I think it's really important. We're going to cover this, and some of you are going to disagree. Being an attached parent does not mean that you're in a space where you meet every dang whim of your kids. Period. That is not what attachment parenting means. Attachment parenting does not mean you don't ever raise your voice. Attachment parenting does not mean you don't have a babysitter. Attachment parenting does not mean you cannot say no. It means that you are attached to your child. I have 5 kids, attached to all of them deeply. They call me when they need something. They call me when they have something to tell me. They call me. I am the attached parent. Eric is very much the attached parent in the last 11 years, so they call him too. But when it comes to attachment parenting, do not confuse attachment parenting and permissive parenting. So the way you get out of that cycle is you just decide, I'm done. I'm done. And you know what? It's all right for this 3-year-old to have a tantrum. It's all right. I can love that child, give them the love that I want to give them, and I can also turn around and do the dishes and let them have their tantrum. It is okay. You can still get all of those things done. I think that, and somebody says here, tell my 21-month-old that, you tell her, get her on your back and do the dang dishes. Just do it. It is, you know, how do you dress a 3-year-old that wants to take an hour to get dressed? Guess what? Never. I have 5 kids. 2 of them with special needs. One of them, it probably would have been ADHD if he had been sent to school. Never in my 20 years of being a mother have I ever let it take an hour to get a kid dressed, unless I'm not acting. So you put those clothes on that child and you say, I'm sorry you're having a fit. We're getting dressed. It's happening. And you can warn and you can say in 5 minutes, this is what's happening. But guess what? A 3-year-old doesn't get 5 minutes. They don't. They need you to say, okay, very soon, when the timer goes off, we're getting dressed. So I set the timer, and I might only set it for 2 minutes because they don't get passage of time until they're in 2nd grade. So don't use the 5-minute mark if you're not willing for it to take 5 minutes. Use the 1-minute mark. Just set the dang timer. They don't know. Just do it. And then you go and you do it. You know what? I think about my son, my 17-year-old. He's like neurotypical, except for, like I said, he probably would be labeled ADHD in the classroom just because he's kind of a monkey. He was the last one of the big 3 to potty train. Like, seriously, Eleanor potty trained at 18 months all by herself. She was like, I'm done with diapers. I'm done with this. She carried around her potty seat and she was done with it. Jacob, it was like a battle. And so I quit making it a battle. If he wanted to stay in a diaper until 10 o'clock, he was changing it himself. When he was 4 years old, I was not doing it for him. And so you just have to decide where your line is. Do not cater to children just because you're an attached parent. That is not attachment parenting. That is permissive parenting. Know the difference. So this is the boot camp part. I'm not trying to yell. In fact, I'm not yelling. I'm just trying to get it through to some of you that it is okay. It's okay for your kids to be mad at you. It is okay for you to say no. It is okay for you to get a babysitter. It is okay for you to, and I'm going to say something here that's going to shock some of you. It is okay to have a relationship with a grandparent that lets your kids watch TV. All I would do is say, hey, Grandma, I really appreciate you watching them tonight. Here's the video that I'm okay with them watching. And be done. Be done. You know they're going to eat cookies, be done. Unless they have a food allergy, and if that's the case, bring your own dang cookies. You can take gluten-free cookies or whatever free you need. Take it with you. Do not alienate yourselves from family that is willing to help because of food allergies and TV. That is not okay. You know, it was probably when I was 25, I was on that bandwagon of, this is not okay, we can't do this, and guess what? I had zero relationship with my ex-husband because a lot of things, but a lot of it was because we didn't have enough alone time. We didn't have enough time to sort of gauge who we were. So I became a mean bitch, and he became a drunk. It's just how it is. And sorry, I don't usually swear. Usually ever. But I am telling you, I take responsibility for my part in that. Whether or not he'll ever take responsibility is between him and God. He's got his own agency. But my agency tells me that I fell down on some of that. That being an attached parent means different things than always being right there for them. It means that you hand them over to somebody who you trust for sure. And if you're not trusting your in-laws because you're afraid of what they're gonna let them watch SpongeBob, I'm saying get over it. Get over it and get a relationship with your partner. And then when you have a relationship with your partner, then you can make those rules in your home, and you can say, well, you know, SpongeBob's not really what we want our kids watching, so we brought this instead. And take the dang Sound of Music or whatever it is that you want to take that you feel better about. Don't use those Waldorf rules as a reason to not have a relationship with your partner, because that's wrong. It's just wrong, and I think Steiner would wag his finger at you just like I am. Also, go to bed. Sleep. If you are sleep deprived, stop worrying about the dishes, stop worrying about the laundry, just go to bed. And stop being up too late, just go to bed. If you're exhausted, stop being exhausted. You have power over that. You know, when your kids sleep, you sleep. When you have kids that are toddlers that aren't sleeping very well, get to the bottom of their sleep issues and figure that out. Go to bed when they're going to bed. And that means you're going to miss out on some things for a while. It might mean you miss out on some things for a month while you get caught up on your sleep. Guess what? It's part of being a parent. You do that, you know, your house may be a disaster, but you are alive because you slept. And you will always, always, always make better decisions after you've had some sleep than you will skirting 4 hours of sleep and trying to get everything cleaned up. Don't do it. Trust me, I've been there. Don't do it. Just go to bed. And, you know, that TV show that you want to watch because you can only watch it when they're in bed, I get it. Man, I'm so hooked on Prison Break right now. Dang Netflix. I get it. So you just have to tell yourself, I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted. I'm doing this instead. Because everything that you do, everything is at the expense of something else. And it doesn't matter if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Everything. So I'm going to try to answer some more questions here. My problem going to bed is not with my kids' sleep. It's with my husband. Well, you know what? He doesn't prevent you from going to bed. Just go to bed. Go to bed with your kids. Honey, I love you, and I know we need to spend time together, but my butt is kicked. And I am not going to be, I'm going to be cantankerous. I'm going to want to fight back with you. I'm going to find flaws in everything that you say if I don't get some sleep. So go to bed. And he might need some sleep too. So honestly, you just tell him, honey, there's some melatonin. Go to bed. You know, I have one situation with a client where her husband's so exhausted, he fell asleep at the wheel and got in an accident, and now he doesn't have a driver's license. So now she has a lot of kids, and she has to take him everywhere. So she thought her situation was crappy before. It's crappier now. So you've got to make decisions. Are you an agent or an object? And I would absolutely pass this on to your husband or your partner. I would say, listen, I'm done being an object. I hope you are too. Let's be agents together, because agents run happy, successful families. Objects don't. And yeah, if somebody says here, invite him to bed with you. I'm 100% agreeing there. I think that when you have men that that are really into watching a show or a video game and you can't entice them with hopefully I'll be rested. And so I'm going to bed. And really just do it. Just go to bed. Getting that rest, because honestly, getting enough sleep for, even if it's fragmented, for a few nights is going to help you overall. And just getting one week of 2 extra hours here or there is better than than not having it at all. So it's better than sort of running on empty. So I've been in that spot where I've just needed the extra sleep. And even though Eric's he's like super dad, he knows she just needs to go to bed. And especially if I'm falling asleep while he's asking me a question, he knows that I just need to go to bed. And there are times when I've had that extra sleep, and then I can run really hard. Jennifer wants to know, how does the melancholy get alone time? Well, I think that honestly, for all temperaments, I'm going to go back to the sleep thing, because if you're getting enough sleep, then you're going to need less alone time. But when you get enough rest, then you don't feel like you need as much. You still need it, but you don't feel that like frantic need of, I gotta be alone. So if you can get that rest that you need, then that will help you a ton, and that will that will be, I think, the icing on a great cake. So once you can have that sleep, then you can make those better decisions. And making those decisions, from a rested place, then will, in turn, help you make better decisions. You're making absolutely. Okay, it says it's still on here. It says my connection is weak, which I don't understand. But hopefully you guys are getting this, and hopefully that will all record. So definitely get the rest that you need, and like I said, I think when you get the rest you need, it will give you the avenue and the opportunity to be able to see where you can get more alone time. And when it comes to alone time, I would beg, barter, or steal, trade something. If you don't have the money to get a sitter, then I would trade. I would I would ask a friend to do trades. I would ask a friend to meet you at the park, and you drop your kids off with this friend, and then you go sit in your car and get an hour of alone, or go for a walk and get an hour of alone. Have some space to sort of clear your mind, and that will help. You're not, when they're little, you're not going to get the alone time that you need. You're just not as much, unless you have a husband that's willing to sort of step up and handle a crying baby. And Eric's done that for me. He's been in that place where he'll be like, well, I know they're just gonna cry, and so he'll just hold them while they cry, and I know that takes, not all men can do that, but he's had a lot of training. So but find a way that you can trade with somebody, that you hire a sitter. If you have the money to hire a sitter, start interviewing one today, and it doesn't cost a ton to hire a sitter. I don't know what the going rate is. I know what I pay Eleanor, and I don't know what the going rate is, but find somebody, and even if it's only $20 worth a week, then it's $20 worth that you either get by yourself or you get with your husband. I would definitely think that date night is super important. And you need to sell your husband on why date night is important. And date night, if it's just popcorn in front of a movie after kids have gone to bed, is great. But I have a huge testimony of actually leaving the house when possible. So again, back to sort of finding a sitter and finding a situation where you can really leave. And if it is at all within your reach, whether it be grandma and grandpa are in charge or something, you should try to have an overnight. It's important, and I know it's not, you can't do it when they're nursing and teeny, but as soon as you can, you should. So I think that really the answer to getting enough alone time is saying that this is what I need. And again, it goes back to being an agent or an object. When you're an object, you think, oh, I don't have enough alone time. When you're an agent, you say, I need this. Help me get it to your husband or to your partner, to your mother, I need some alone time. I would like you to help me figure it out. And you bounce it off of whoever will listen and whoever is willing to help. Let's see. My husband legitimately wants me to spend time with him every night after the kids go to bed to watch TV, have sex. Seriously, I can't do it. I'm going to start telling him I can. See more. I can't stay up late. And I think you do. I think you have to tell him. I think you have to say, these are the nights that I'm willing to stay up late with you. And on the other nights, that means go to bed so that you can have, if you can get 9 hours one night, then you get 6 hours the next. It happens. And if you can just really see that and really sort of allow that space to happen, and you can say, honey, I'm willing to give you these nights, but until this baby is older, until I am sleeping better, I can't live on 5-6 hours of sleep all the time. So you're going to have to give me the space to get 9 every now and again, or at least 8, so that I can really feel better. So I think that it's important, and I think you just say what you say. They'll figure it out. They might be mad, but you'll be in a better mood because you had some sleep. And so, I would even say, look at what time he's getting up in the morning. And I would say, I'm going to bed now. I'll see you in the morning. I'll see you before your alarm goes off. And then sneak out of bed with kids in the morning and go be with him in the morning. I think that there is so much to be said for being on the same page when it comes to when you're alone together. And you both want it. So when you both want that alone time together, work together to find something that works for both of you. Because there again, you're not an object. You just tell him, I'm not an object, I'm an agent. And my agency tells me I need some more sleep. Otherwise, I will be in there and I will be feeling like an object the entire time. Do you really want to have sex with an object? Nope. So put it in those terms. Put it in the terms that, excuse me, put it in terms that he can understand, and be very straightforward, and decide that you're a find a way, make a way woman, and that you are an agent, and that you can do this. And you're still finding yourself spiraling, you've got to step back. And like I said, if this is you, then as soon as you're done listening to this, I want you to go in the bathroom and look in the mirror. I want you to shut the door. I don't care if there's a 2-year-old pounding on the other side of it. You need 10 seconds by yourself in the bathroom. Shut the door, lock it, and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm an agent. It starts now. And then you walk out the door and you deal with whatever is going on out there. You deal with the children that are in trouble, and you stay on it. I think that that's one place that I'm really finding and that I'm hearing is that you're expecting a lot from little kids. And my youngest is 5, and I can expect nothing. She's 5, and I can say, please go get me the comb and a hair tie, and I'll do your hair. And if I don't see her in 3 minutes, I go after her because she forgot, because she saw the unicorn book on the floor and decided to sit down and look at it, or because she thought what her sister was doing was more fun than getting the comb. You can't count on them to do that when they're little. So you have to follow up, and you have to follow up in a way that is not going to make you frustrated. So you have to really decide, I'm done feeling like this. And your will then has to come forward. So if you are, let's go over this, temperaments. If you are choleric or sanguine, you have a lot of will that you need to tame. So you need to focus. If you're choleric, you need to stop being so whiny, or not whiny, excuse me, so bitchy. You just need to stop and settle back down and realize that other people need to help you. And it's okay for other people to help you. If you are sanguine, you need to stop being so dang flighty. Focus. And just chill out. One of the things I think is super helpful is when you are with your temperaments, look at your diet. If you are a choleric and you are doing nothing but soda and sugary stuff and lots of wheat, you are going to be cranky. Your chest, it doesn't matter how much sleep you have, you're going to be cranky. All temperaments are going to have different foods that work for them. If you are sanguine and you're not eating enough protein, you're going to be really flighty. So you need to look at your diet and you need to decide, I need to have some more protein, and maybe you're eating eggs for breakfast rather than flying around on just some yogurt. Get some more protein in your body and ground yourself. If you are phlegmatic, you've got to figure it out. Maybe you need, I'm not a huge coffee drinker ever, haven't been a huge coffee drinker in 11 years, gave it up, walked away from it. But I have, on occasion, abused some Coca-Cola and some Dr. Pepper. If you need something, maybe you need a really strong cup of tea. If you're phlegmatic, get up. Get going. Just get up. It's not so hard. I promise you. I know those covers are cozy and warm, but they're not nearly as cozy and warm as the comfort you will have from a house that runs well. I promise. I promise. Get up and get moving. Get up and decide that you don't want the chaos that you have going on. Just decide, I am an agent. And then do it. You've got to be on it. You are holding the space from the moment they wake up till the moment they go to bed. And I know that's a lot, but this is a choice, remember? Because you can choose today. You can look in the mirror and say, I'm an agent and I can't do this anymore. And God forgive me, and I'm gonna find daycare right now. And it's okay. It is, I promise. Because if you need a break and you're not getting it and you need to be in control, then just do what you need to do to get yourself back to that place, because it doesn't have to be forever. But you have to decide. You have to be the agent. Don't be an object anymore. Objects allow other people to make choices for them. Stop being that person. You can do this. I'm just going to look at some more questions here. Sometimes I feel like I can't keep up with everything in the house and the kids. My husband's works 24/7. Guess what? I get it. I get it. When I told this story before, my mom, I had this with 3 kids at the time, and my mom came to visit me, and she was only 3 hours away, but she didn't visit very much. So, I had this laundry that was like never ending, and I was constantly doing laundry, and I can remember she said to me, Melissa Dawn, that's not how I raised you. Why are you so behind on your laundry? And I looked at her and I laughed. I said, lady, this is from 2 days. Remember, you had 1 kid, and at the time I had 3. So laundry piles up. It does. So you just got to get yourself in a good system, even if it's only 1 load a day. But when I say 1 load, that doesn't just mean 1 load in the washer. Dang it. Washer, dryer, fold, put away. If that's all you can handle, 1 load is a good place to start. Start there. Do not tell yourself you can't do it. You can do 1 load a day. Unless you have to go to the laundromat and you're, sort of looking at doing that on a weekly thing. If that's the case, then you make sure that it's in your rhythm for that week, and you do that. Mom says, I'm dealing with chronic pain issues recently, and it's really not me flat. You know what? I totally get it. I totally get it. I had a stroke 2 years ago. It was 2 years in April. And I have some spanking awesome days where I have no pain and you would not know that I had a stroke. And then I have some days where I can hardly move. And because I work really hard on the days that I feel really good, then the days that I can hardly move are easier because my kids listen to me. They know what I expect. So don't use your things that you're struggling with as a reason to say, this is why my kids are crazy, or this is why my house looks like this. I would look at yourself and say, I'm an agent. And as an agent, even though I'm knocked on my butt, I can still work this. My kids still mind. That doesn't mean they're going to be crazy. Kids are crazy. That's what they are. They're awesome little opportunists. I love Eric described when she was 4. He said 4-years look kind of like drunk people. They kind of are. They sort of, they can be angry. They can be like super happy, but they're usually like bumping into everything, and it is what it is. Childhood is, and so I would get yourself familiar with the different stages of childhood and what you can expect. If you've got older kids, and when I say older kids, I'm talking about anybody who's got kids older than 7. If they're not doing any chores, shame on you. Get busy putting them to work, and the way to do that is to show them exactly what you expect. Don't just say, I need you to clean the bathroom, without showing them how to do it and what you expect is clean. Don't just say, clean the kitchen without telling them that means they wipe down the table, they wipe down the counters, all of the dishes are in the dishwasher, all of it. You have to look at everything. Resources for ages and stages. We have a lot of stuff on the blog. We have some stuff mixed in with Mom Lesson 2 for curriculum. And in the curriculum addresses the ages and stages beautifully. We have different resources sprinkled around. I really like You Are Your Child's First Teacher. I know a lot of people are put off by her because she sort of writes in a choleric way. So I would read her anyway because there's a lot of great information in there. I would look at Between Form and Freedom for older kids, and by that I mean like anybody that's 10, 12 and up. It really addresses the teen years really well, but it also sort of helps you see what's coming. I would really get good at understanding the 9-year change and how to navigate it. We've got great podcasts on that. I would get really good at realizing that 3-year-olds are just 3-year-olds and that they are sort of in this space of wanting to have sort of autonomy that they've never had before, because they go, oh, it's not just about mom's boobs. It's about the whole world. And they want everything. They want it all. They want to experience it all. And they will do it at the expense of pleasing you, where they wouldn't have before. And that gets better, totally gets better. But they're still going to, they're going to know how to push those buttons. When they're 6, they're going to be pushing them some more because they're going through some changes at 6. In Waldorf, this is often referred to as leaving Eden. And if you can imagine sort of the loneliness that Adam and Eve had when they were booted out of the garden, that's sort of how the 6-year-old feels. So you have to really sort of turn up your empathy. If you're choleric, that might be hard. I know it was a struggle for me when I was going through it with Harry, and he's also on the spectrum, so that made for even more. But the better I got, the more kids I had, the better I got at it. So let's see, I'm going to answer some questions here. If I'm lacking someone to share our achievements without emailing Melisa daily, you can email me daily if you need to, as long as you don't expect me to respond all the time. We don't have Waldorf community. I didn't either. I didn't have a Waldorf community for a long time. So I had to create one. And I'm pretty stubborn. So I looked and looked and looked until I created one. And the timing wasn't right. We moved to San Diego. When we left Utah, I thought, you know what? It's going to be easy. We moved to San Diego. We're going to have a community. I know who I am. I can figure this out. People are going to want to be in a group with me, right? Ego. So no, it didn't happen until a year after my stroke. And it was because of where I needed to be. I was not in a good place. I could not have been a good leader with what was going on. And so God knew better than I did. And so even though we had some activities, they were not what I wanted them to be. And I just had to remember what I counsel all of you all the time. Get on my knees and ask the Lord for the right situation. And after asking and asking, lo and behold, somebody answered my email. And then she and I got together at the beach. And then from there, we advertised for more people. And now we have this thriving co-op with 30 kids and 13 families. And we almost always have 13 families. We have somebody always going, somebody always coming. And that came from me asking and doing and sort of really deciding that this is what we wanted. And you would think, oh well, San Diego's huge, so there's got to be a ton of families. Well, if that would be the case, then you would think that there'd be a ton of them knocking down our door. There's not. Like I said, we usually have about 13 families. There's some, we might get, a couple of requests a month of people that want to know information, but they're not knocking down our door like you would expect in this big metropolitan area. There's a ton of people between Tijuana at the border and Oceanside, and you would think that would mean that there'd be a ton of Waldorf families, but no. So sometimes you just need one other family. And when we lived in Idaho, there was one other family that we did just about everything with for a while until we created a co-op. So just look for that one other family. It just takes one other family to feel like you've got some more. And you can always share your accomplishments with the moms on Thinking, Feeling, Willing. You guys are so great at supporting each other. I love it. I love that I love that, knowing that that's the community that I started. I love that you guys are so good with each other and so loving to each other. I think it's amazing. So the question is, how do you hold the space for everyone when my husband is home? He does whatever he wants, eats whatever he wants, showers whenever, doesn't participate in family meals, just kind of hangs around, and then, oops, hold on. Then, sorry, it says see more. And then looks at me at bedtime. He's phlegmatic, I think. Well, I think you just be straight up with him. And I think that if he's not going to be willing to eat with you guys, then eat before he gets home and do your own thing. You know, send the message of what you need. And if he's not willing to listen to your words, then maybe he'll watch your actions. And I would be straightforward with him and say, I know you've been working all day. I know you're exhausted. I know it's hot outside. And I know in your case, your husband's outside installing stuff. So I would say, I love you, but you're not my only concern here. You're a grown up, and I got these kids here that I got to work with and I got to be concerned about. So, you know, if you want to eat whenever you want to eat, that's great, but we're going to eat before you get home. And then I'm going to be wearing these kids out so that I can put them to bed, and then I'm going to go to bed. So if you'd like to sort of be with us, we would love it if you'd be with us. But we're not turning on the TV, and we're not going to have our phones in front of us and game. We're going to be doing stuff. So if you want to be with us, then please be with us. Otherwise, we're going to be outside or in the other room playing a game or something. And hopefully he'll get it. I think that I don't like treating husbands like children because I don't think that that's fair. But I also don't think that it's fair when they turn you into an object. And so I would just get really sort of ho-hum about it. This is how it is. You're not home all day long. These are the rules I've had to make, and I don't like them being crazy. So, excuse me. Itchy. So this is how it's going to be. And I would love it if you would come with us and join us. I can remember with my ex-husband, it was Father's Day, and he would not get out of bed. It was Father's Day. He thought, well, it's Father's Day. I work really hard. I should be able to sleep all day. All right, well, then sleep all day. I got up. Kids and I had a great breakfast. We went to amusement park. We spent the day, and it was this teeny little amusement park by the zoo in Idaho Falls, but we spent the day there. We had a great time. We had an amazing time. We got back at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Where have you been all day? I said, well, you said you didn't want to come with us. So I was not going to sit here and stare at 3 kids all day and wonder when you were going to get up. So we went and we did some stuff, and we had a good time. The kids were all excited. Hey, Daddy, we rode the Ferris wheel. Hey, Dad. And that was the last time that he decided he'd rather sleep. And granted, I ended up getting a divorce, but that was the last time he decided he was going to sleep rather than hang out with us. After that, he made a concerted effort to try and hang out with us. And so you have to sort of, you have to decide what it is that you want. And you know, you also have to, when I say the things that I say about sort of how to talk to your husband, don't bombard him with stuff when you know he's already irritated. You want to sit down and have a good chat with him on a full belly, especially if he's phlegmatic, preferably food he likes, and be in a good and sort of really come together. You really have to decide. You have the power to change your life, and the only person standing between you and that happiness is you. So decide what it is that you want today. And remember, you don't have to be an object. You can be an agent. So I hope you guys have a great day. I love you all. And I hope that you can get unstuck from where you're at, and that you decide to get unstuck from where you're at, because that's really what thinking, feeling, and willing is all about. Be willing to do the thinking and the feeling. So move it, do it, get it done. I love you all. Have a great day. Bye now.